Oh, man, I just want to say a huge shout out right now to Jaden Skinner. He is our newest member
What's up,
to
Jaden?
Worldwide Thunder family, baby. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Also, a huge shout out to our boy Jay. We appreciate you for having a nasty, nasty mouth on you. We like you a lot, and we hope you keep listening and telling us all the things that we're doing wrong, because Corliss Williamson was the name I was searching for. Obviously, you knew exactly who I was talking about it. So next time, help out, right? Throw a guy a bone. I don't know. Appreciate it, Jay.
I love it,
Oh,
man.
and Wayne, you're my boy. I appreciate you for standing up for me. Yeah, dude. You're
Good
for real,
times,
man.
bro. What did you start, bro? What the hell did you start?
Well, we're talking about Arkansas, man, and I got stuck on who the coach was for Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I couldn't remember. It was Richardson, right? Coach Richardson. I'm like, couldn't put a finger on his name. So I got stuck on that, and I called his best player on that team, that Arkansas team, Derek Coleman.
Yeah.
And again, I know better, like
Anyway.
I felt stupid afterwards, because you even said Derek Coleman played for Syracuse, I think. And I'm like sitting there going, yeah, he's right. But who was the guy? And I couldn't put a name on it. And Jay told me, he's like, man, just look it up online, But here's the thing, Mark, and I want to make sure that everybody understands this. When I get on a roll, guys, I'm not going to stop what I'm saying to go look up online just to make my point. If I get the names wrong because I can't remember people's names, that's that, Like, I'm not going to go back and try to be like, let me be politically correct, everybody, because that's not fucking me.
Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way up front.
Anybody else need touch tips, or are we good, man?
What's up, Shane? How you doing,
Shane?
buddy? Good to see you, man. No, dude. Look, people know what you were talking about. I didn't know actually it was Corliss Williamson, so I'm glad Jay straightened that out for me too. But I love it, man. I'm good with it, man. I think it's nice to see the return of Arkansas hoops. They were
so great, man.
There was some great basketball played there for a while. But
it's the fundamental basketball that Arkansas can provide. Like, you think about all this other stuff that's going on in the world of basketball, and when you're in Arkansas, that's what you get to focus on, man. It's like playing in Oklahoma City, in the NBA. You get this opportunity just to focus on hoops, and in a time period where shit's constantly going on, it's insane, man. And I want to throw this out here. Our thoughts are with the James family right now. LeBron James' son, Bronny James, collapsed with a cardiac arrest on the court during a practice at USC. He has been released out of the ICU, but obviously that's something that's scary. And I told you this, Mark. I said LeBron James is only going to end his career on an injury when he's injured and he's got to be pulled off the court. But this is something, as a parent, that it's your worst nightmare. Like, this makes you re-examine everything. And I'm not saying that this is LeBron James's last year or anything else like that, but like, if Bronny is unable to play basketball again, there's going to be a moment for LeBron to try to figure out what the fuck is going on, And I feel for the family right now. Like, anytime something like this seriously happens, like, you just got to, take a step back and appreciate those people that can play hoops. And I told Mark, this reminds me a lot of the Manning family. Peyton and Eli's oldest brother had a heart condition, and he wasn't able to finish his college career. I think he had a lot of talent, could have been a very, very good football player for a long time in the league, but obviously never got a chance to because of his heart condition. So, we've seen players that have this before, and our thoughts go out with the James family.
I wonder if you got something wrong with that, and somebody's gonna be like, it wasn't the oldest brother, it was the middle brother.
No, it was the oldest brother, because
Okay,
he went to Mississippi. Like, okay, like, it was the whole idea. Like, when after, so the oldest brother went to Mississippi State or whatever it was, Mississippi. I'm sorry if you're a politically correct person on this one.
Somebody's
right here, okay?
got you now.
And then Peyton Manning, I believed, made a commitment to go there, and then after his brother got injured and he couldn't play anymore, he switched over to Tennessee.
Okay.
And then Eli still went to Mississippi.
We went to
State.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, whatever it is. See, that's what I'm saying, man. Ole Miss, Mississippi, Mississippi State. Come on.
Now we got
you got me.
What?
Fuck you, Jay. Fuck you, man. You got me guessing everything now. You're like, where's the search engine?
Here's the thing. if it comes down to you getting on a roll and just like rolling with it, or having people in your head saying, you know, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, then just get on a roll
I'll
and
get on a roll.
ignore that. And then we'll let everybody deal with it all in the chat, dude.
What?
Stir shit up.
All
Talk
right.
about Derek Coleman being from Arkansas. I don't
Our
care.
favorite morning show in Oklahoma City was the ESPN
Jack,
morning show, right?
Jack and Ron, dude. Jack and Ron.
I mean, well, Jack and Ron, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But sports show. Okay, Jack and Ron, they did it too. But they had this end, like the last like 2 minutes of their show is like they had one of their producers or whatever would go up there and read all the mistakes they made. You know,
You mean that was what was it? That was PTI.
well,
Pardon the
they did it too.
interruption.
But I'm saying
Yeah,
like
yeah.
originally when we were listening to like the Sports Animal back in the day in
Okay, so they
Oklahoma
had the
City,
producer call him out on
one of
shit.
the producers would make a joke about it and like haha, you guys got this name, you were meant to say this player instead of this player. Anyways, like that's what we need because we make a lot of these mistakes. We need to see someone to follow us and like make our mistakes so we don't seem like idiots on here all the time.
We need our fact checkers. We need our fact checkers. No doubt, dude. I mean, that's one of the things that's made it really fun to have the chat going on YouTube. And, you know, one thing we like to do now is call in anybody who wants to give us a call in, jump on in. We still working out some of the details. Last time we had Unk jump on, and then we forgot to have him completely upload the video. We'll have to teach everybody how to do that just a little bit, you know. So anyway, that's just some of the technical stuff that we're working out, but we're definitely glad to be with everybody this summer. We know we've got a while till FIBA, and we're trying to figure out how we can share this information, like be a part of everybody jumping on. And I just feel like this is what it's all about: is us, you know, finding a way to communicate and share everything with everybody. This has been a really fun experience as the Thunder has gone from, you know, really from a media perspective, the bottom of the league. They never were the worst team or anything in the league, but we got no media attention to now a lot of people are jumping on. And so we're
Right.
excited about riding that wave with everybody and just seeing exactly how far this goes, because if we can find a way to make these live shows something that happen throughout the year and just are part of it, like Dave shared the link. And in the end, that
I want to
link,
be able to
once
do
you
this for
have that,
games.
it'll work for the other game for the future times too. So you see us on, jump on, and we'll get you into the show.
I want to be able to have this for like games, like where, you know, Mark and I are smokers. You know, I don't think that's something that we've ever hid from our show. If you guys look behind me, you know, I've got my representatives behind me. Anyways, I I want to be able to have this so that people can call in, hang out with us, smoke a bowl, you know, have a beer, watch the game for a little while. Like this is something that is going to be a lot of fun because to me, like it's all about having that opportunity to hang out with you guys. You know, from being somebody that is an Oklahoma City Thunder fan and is completely separated from Oklahoma City, like there's no bars, there's no areas to go hang out that we can go watch the games. So this is what that's become for Mark and I. Last year around the All-Star break, we did our first one and we're like, holy shit, this is amazing. So that's why for us doing these live shows is something that's important. And I think we need to continue to do. So as
Yeah,
time's going on, it will be fun.
when we when we got into this, we thought it'd be really fun to, like, you know, have a bunch of people we were talking with about the Thunder, but then podcasting can just by its nature be a really lonely pursuit. You're like just talking, not getting a lot of like interactions and stuff. So when we switched to YouTube, um, obviously the podcast is still live. Everybody's in. I hope you're enjoying that, but we're at this point. Our goal is to include as many voices before. We've had guests on before, but it was
Get
always
Chencho
difficult.
back on here, man.
We need to get Chencho back on. We need to get George back on. We need to get a bunch of people back on. But in the end, like the logistics of it lended to being kind of difficult. So we're like, hey, we're gonna go for this too. We're gonna see whoever's in the chat. If you guys want to join us, and Shane is about to jump on. It seems like, so I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped to have everybody.
Let's talk a little bit of Thunder, man. Like something that we talked about yesterday.
That's good,
Got me
Milani.
thinking. I even wrote you a text about it. Let me read the text that I wrote you because I felt like it really kind of hit the mark of what we're trying to do. 5 players who you feel are worth 3 or more picks. All right. And I don't even want to get down to 5 because I feel like 5 is such a massive, massive number. So let's go with just 2 players, in your opinion, that you would be willing to give 3 to 4 picks for that either is possibly on the market or could possibly be on the market to a team that could be in a rebuild situation. I'll start with one. You ready? Embiid.
Okay.
If he was available for 4 or 5 first round draft picks, I would say yes.
I would say a guy like Mikal Bridges. I know that seems like an
Yeah, you've been a
extraordinarily.
Bridges fan for a long time.
I know that's a lot to pay, but I'm just like, we need players that you don't need plays drawn up for them to be effective. And I'm not saying Embiid needs it, although there was some question about whether or not Doc was calling up plays for him to catch the ball where he had the advantage. But Mikal just understands how to play where he's the third option. And you need people who are capable of that. That's one of the things I've always appreciated about him. So, Dave, I'll let you go number 2 because I'm having trouble thinking of my second one.
All right. So obviously I got Embiid out there. I'll throw another big man just because I want to go stay with big men. But another player I'd be willing to cough up 3+ picks, man. Like here's the problem with this is that not everybody is going to agree with what I'm going to say next, but there's 2 big men that I look at that would cost us 3 picks. All right. DeAndre Ayton and Bam. All right. Those are the 2 guys that I would look at as a possible like add-on as a logistics move for a team that's saying we need to move off of this one and it would cost us less because we're actually being chipping in and helping out, you know? So I would say those 2 big guys I wouldn't mind necessarily on our team because I feel like they would have a great place next to a Chet and next to a Jay Will and the other guys that we have. But to me, Embiid, if you look at the cream of the crop that could be available, like there's certain players that you could never draft a player like Embiid, and that type of player is worth 5 first-round draft picks for.
Yeah, I mean,
And
the nice thing is it's not like it's not like an overlapping skill set. Like we're not like he's going to take direct playing time like from
you
a
don't need
certain
to isolate Embiid for him to score.
Right.
You put him next to Chet, and that would be one of the nastiest lineups ever as big men. I don't think there would be another lineup that people would be like, oh yeah, well, those guys fucked a lot of people up like Chet and Embiid did. Like we're talking about legendary, and Embiid is like what 25. So
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Fuck you, Jay. We'll call this the Jay effect when we're like, how old is Embiid? And we're like, nah, we don't know. So now I'm just going to go ahead and go to standings because
Jay makes me aware of my nipples.
Oh man, Embiid's 29, dude. See,
yeah,
he's growing up way too fast, bro.
See, at least you use the Google.
To Googles. Man, all right, what about you? So I named big guys. Are you going to stick with guards? Go with guards.
So I would say this is probably going to not make everybody happy, but I don't exactly know why. But I'd say probably Tyler Hero.
So you want a shooter. You want a pure shooter. Do you think Tyler Hero is more valuable than Isaiah Joe?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, and just the aspect of it, like, I think Isaiah Joe could be a 6th man of the year candidate this year. Do you think Tyler Hero has what it takes to be that?
I mean, I think Tyler Hero could average 25 a game. I don't know that he could do it off the bench necessarily.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why I'm like, I don't know if he's in the right situation for him. You'd have to really buy into his upside. I think if you unleashed him, if like say Dort's spot was open for competition and Tyler beat him out for it, I think his defense improved. I think his mid-range game improved. So if you had that like that position available for someone like him to take, he could add a new dynamic to our offense. It would be really hard for us to reproduce any other way. I think maybe I overly respect his shooting,
Ooh, nine
but
five. I love
I
that,
feel like
bro.
that'd be. I think that's kind of where I'm at, dude. What you saying?
No, he was saying we need dogs, not pups.
Oh,
Um, no, I see. I look at the landscape of our team, right, man? I look at what we have. I look at the players. I look at the big men. I look at the guards. I look at the hybrid players, as we call them. I look at our defensive sets. I look at our offensive sets, right? Um, and out of all the players that I keep going back to, is it's Mikal Bridges is one of those guys that obviously we speak his praises all the time, but really having a guard slash forward that can score, right? That can play that forward position, that can play that guard position, that it doesn't matter defense, offense. Like that's ultimately what we need, you know? Like an all around good player, because any of these specialty players that are out there that could be available, I have a hard time with. I really do. Specialty players really irk me because this is not a specialty team. Like we're not like the Cleveland Cavaliers old school where they have like, this big man for this team and this guard for this team. And then that guard doesn't play for, 60 games because he's only there for 22 games, Like this team is way deeper than that. And that's why I consistently say, like, if we're going to add somebody, adding a big man, right, is what we've done in the past because we've added like a Mike Muscala or, you know what I'm saying? Like Al Harford. Like, those are the type of guys that get me excited. Like, it's the small increment changes that they come into the organization and they help their players with. If you think about Steven Adams, right? Steven Adams wouldn't be half the man he was unless Kendrick Perkins was there helping him out. I mean, he probably would have been the strongest man in the NBA, but it would have taken him a lot longer to get there. And that's my point, is that you make incremental changes and bring in a big man or bring in this player or bring in that player, right? Then all of a sudden you look at Poku and you're like, how the fuck did Poku get so good? Or how the hell did Chet get so good at defense like this? It's because that incremental change that you brought in to bring a big man or bring a big body or bring a guard that's like, oh, look at this guard's going to be Tyler Hero. He's going to help these guys how to shoot. We have all these guys that are Kentucky players, and we just want as many Kentucky players as we possibly can have on this team. Cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a big deal. Like, it's not a weird thing for an organization to go out and say, we're only going to pick up Big 12 players or big or Pac 12 players, So I see what the Thunder are doing, man. And I have to say, is like, no matter what I think is best or what I think the need is, every single time I've said that, the young players come back and play harder, play better. And then it's like, okay, well, that's not necessarily the need that we needed. So then it's back to the drawing board. So when you say people like Mikal Bridges, in my opinion, that's somebody that's universal. That's like the Swiss Army knife. You always need a player like that. We don't know for sure if we're going to need big bodies and nasty players out there for sure yet. But we do know that we'll always need players like Mikal Bridges and, those type of athletes.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, Tyler Hero. Let's talk a little bit more about him because I feel like 9-5 is shitting on him a bit, which is fine. Okay, maybe he hasn't been, I don't know, living up to everybody's expectations, but there was a moment where everybody thought he could be the next Devin Booker, and I think that maybe that was a little bit extreme anyway because what Booker did was stuff that we hadn't seen other people do, from a scoring perspective in a very long time. So but what we saw from Booker in this last playoffs with KD, they started playing like a different speed. They played like it didn't necessarily win them, they didn't make it to the finals or anything, but when they were like, hey, we need a win, they started picking up the pace. Booker played at a super duper fast pace, and he was incredibly effective at it, and he was knocking down shots, going full speed and stopping on a dime.
Sure.
And I think in that way, Tyler Hero still has like a chance to end up reaching something that's comparable in his peak because I know he can play extremely fast. I know he can shoot incredibly effective, playing extremely fast, and we just don't have anybody who can play that fast and shoot that well at the same time.
Let's just put it out there. If Tyler Hero is going to maximize his ability in Oklahoma City, it's only going to be because he's surrounded by other guards. I mean,
Who
think about
find
it.
him? Yeah.
And that's, in my opinion, where Tyler Hero really proves who he is because if you look at the type of guard sets that we can throw out there with him, would really highlight his abilities. If you think about Shea, Josh Giddey, and J Dub, think about Dort, Josh Giddey, and Shea. I mean, you can throw any combination of three guards out there because you have Chet. Like he's like the fourth guard out there. Now you have all these guards that know how to pass the ball and find the open man and knows where the players are going to be at all times. So, yes, I would say that Tyler Hero isn't very high on my list, but man, if you give me him for a couple of draft picks and you give me a couple of years to develop his skill inside of what Oklahoma City needs, then yeah, and it's not going to cost us any more money than transferring Bertans and a couple other contracts like that. But fuck yeah, let's do it.
I mean,
But
if we could somehow get Booker, how high would he be on his on your list?
what's that?
If you could somehow get Booker, how high would he be on your list?
See, I don't think Devin Booker's done developing his game, and I've said that for a long time with him. I know he's getting up there in age still, but I think he has a couple more years until he hits his true peak. So for me, I would be like, hell yeah, I'd love to get Devin Booker on our team.
Right.
Just like I would have loved to have, Klay Thompson on our team when the Oklahoma City Thunder were winning. And
Right.
I really wish that we had traded James Harden for Klay Thompson, somehow worked that out because that would have been the bomb. But the reality is that there's just certain times that you look at players and you're like, okay, does Tyler Hero have enough of a defensive minded aspect to his game? And that's the one thing that I go back to it with him. Can he be taught how to play our defense properly without being a liability? And those are the things that you have to be able to figure out before you pay a player $140 million.
I don't know, but like, what if he had been healthy and then the Heat had gone on to win the finals somehow because of his shooting? Like,
okay,
he seemed like he could have been an X factor into the finals.
I agree. I agree.
Then all of a sudden, it's a different narrative, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how inevitably how it's going to be with these type of players. Like, that's why I would say I'd be willing to give a couple draft picks for him. And the reason is because if we gave a couple draft picks for Tyler Hero, let's just take a step back and realize if we go out and we do something special with him, right, and he becomes like the second leading scorer on our team, his defense improves, and all of a sudden his contract is now incredibly valuable, right? To me, I will say this 100 times. I'm always for a bargain deal to improve a player's abilities, to show him what he can do, and then trading him before he costs us a max contract. Like that to me is brilliant. So if you're saying that we have to take Tyler Hero for 2 years, we continue to develop him, and then we trade him away for 4 draft picks that are in 2033 and so on and so forth, like I can't be upset with that. I don't think I could be upset with that. I think I would sit there and be like, you know what, this is a good deal. Like we paid 2 draft picks for him. We paid him $60 million or 40 or 40, whatever it would be, $1 million. And then we traded him. Cool. Like why was that a big deal? Because we would have paid Bertans like what? Almost $40 million. So in the aspect of it, in the grand scheme of things, like we're talking about spending $40 million in 2 draft picks for a player like Hero. Like, yeah, man, let's see what we can do with him. Let's see if we can turn him around. Let's see if we can give him life. But I mean, there's so many players like that in the NBA that we could literally be like, they're borderline, starters, borderline all-stars that we could give 2 draft picks for them right now. And they'd be incredible on our team, and they're in that $140, $160 million range.
But most people seem to think the right move right now is to wait until we find out what we need for sure. I think we kind of saw a lot what we need. I know that there's going to be a difference with Chet on the court, but like generally speaking, like I can't imagine a guy like Mikal Bridges interfering with Chet's development. You know what I mean?
No. Well, that's the thing, though, is that any of those type of players that can play those hybrid positions won't mess with Chet's time The only person that's going to mess with Chet's time is if we bring a big body in. And most of that time will be just because we're trying to limit Chet. Like, listen, I want this to be known. Like, I don't think that rookies that that their bodies aren't ready for the league should play more than 50 minutes, play more than 50 games, period. I'm sorry. Like, I look at Josh Giddey, who I thought was ready for the league. His physicality was ready for the league. He didn't get above 55 games his rookie year.
Well, it's because the
J-Dub
first
did.
signs of a problem, they shut him down. They didn't wait until,
J-Dub got 75 games, but I want to say the first, 20 something games, it was limited minutes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he earned his starting position, but it wasn't balls to the wall in the start of the season for J-Dub. He was brought into it. That's how any rookie should come into the league is take your time to play goal 50 games, and that's why I look at Chet. My goal for Chet is to play 50 games. If he's able to play more than 50 games, hell yeah. If he doesn't make it past 50 games because he's starting to get worn down, then I hope they pull the plug on him, like I know they will. Like, I hope they do the same thing with Victor. I hope they do the same thing with any of these other young players that are coming in. Ousmane Dieng. Like, I just the other going through injury list with France. Ousmane Dieng hurt his back. Is not going to be practicing with France right now. Like, these are the things that happen, man. Like, it's inevitable. You heard about Bronny James with the cardiac arrest, man.
Which, as far as I know,
James, cardiac arrest. He's out of the ICU right now. But my point is that these things happen, guys. Like, freak injuries happen all the time. So, like, for me, I want to see players, especially rookies, as they're working on their body, play 50 games, man. See what you can do in 50 games. Like, if you're under 20 years old still, I hope you get another 50 games next season. I hate to see young players get hurt. So, what's up, Lovin?
Yeah, I hate seeing him get hurt. I think one of the things we heard about J-Dub last year was that as the season went on, he got better.
Yeah.
And it was like he gained momentum. And Coach Daignault was like, that's not normal. But I think one of the reasons he was capable of doing that was, like you said, they had him on a plan early, and that gave him an opportunity to grow into that role. So, and he already had an NBA ready body. So the guys that don't, it's so important you stick to that plan.
It's, a lot of people say, at what point do you pull the plug on development, right? And you go for competitive playing. And this is why it's so important that you never give up on development, is because, it's inevitable that you're going to have players get injured. If you're able to fill those players in with the next player up mentality, it makes things a lot easier. It's transitioning. It's like, okay, Chet's going to be out for 10 games, or Shea's going to be out for 10 games. Okay, well, we're going to lean on J-Dub for scoring. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Well, now, instead of us going 2-8 in the 10 games, we're going to go like 6-4. We're still going to be able to hold our heads above water. Insert Shea back in, insert J-Dub back in, insert Chet back in, and we're good to go. We'll win 80% of our games again. And I think that's just the reality of what this team is capable of doing, that we're all sitting here saying, is this really what this team can do? And I think when people sit here and say, like, I hope the Thunder go for it this year and trade, Lovin, it's the gamble. I have to say, it's exciting to me, that idea of a gamble, that we could roll the dice and see what happens. I don't think we would do that for a player that we would have for less than 2 or 3 years. I would say 3 years probably, just because we would want that gamble to be able to spread out as long as possible. Because if that gamble didn't work, we'd still could get assets in return for that gamble. So I think that's the thing, that we have to sit back and just relax and see what happens, because any idea that I could come up with that I think that would be best for the Thunder, it's just not going to be equivalent to what is actually right. What's up, Ryan?
What's up, buddy? So, yeah, dude, I think the biggest concern we all should have would be that you add somebody that messes up the chemistry in the locker room. Like, there's a mentality about, like, oh, could this player or that player throw off the development? Like, I don't really see that happening. I think we get the right fit. That's not really a problem. But the
Well,
chemistry in the
Sam
locker
Presti
room.
talks about it, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, he talks about building a team. He talks about having the right players, the right maturity level on all these players. It's important. If you do it right and you're able, he's not going to go out and get a guy that has a shitty ass attitude for the locker room. He's not going
Right.
to bring James Harden. He's not going to bring in these guys that, like, I'm sorry. He's going to bring in good quality, human beings to lead that locker room, is because it's not just your multi-billion-dollar brand. We don't want a situation on our hands where we're saying, well, Morant and, DB are having issues, right? So we got to pick one or the other. Like, no, man, that's not how we roll. Like, this Thunder team is all about being a team. We're together. We bleed blue. I mean, that's what we do.
That's it, baby. Yo, I'm in the process of moving places today, so we better call it early, dude, and we will get back at it. Hopefully
Right
from a
on.
new place tomorrow for me.
All right, guys. Let's catch you tomorrow.
Catch you then.